Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, Israel facing potential conflicts inside and outside the country. After recent terror attacks, it could get involved in another war and deal with a political crisis of its own government. Mask on or mask off? Customers are confused because some airline flights may still require masks and others will not, after a federal judge struck down President Joe Biden's travel mask mandate. Plus, there's a growing uptick in the number of women and black candidates running for office.
This is something that Republicans are very much trying to use to connect to all voting groups, but especially black voters.
See what this could mean for Democrats in the upcoming midterm elections. Then later,
I realized that my hope has to be anchored in something that's more constant than the things that I'm aiming towards.
Grammy-nominated recording artist Major. He sits down in Studio 5 to talk about his music, his tour, and how he overcame adversity. And CBN's First Lady, Dede Robertson, the wife of Dr. Pat Robertson, goes home to be with the Lord at the age of 94. We'll bring you a look at her amazing life. All these stories and more are coming up next from the CBN Newsroom.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
We begin in Israel, which could be facing the possibility of a major conflict with the Palestinians and a possible political crisis in its own government. Earlier today, minor skirmishes between Palestinians and Israeli police on the Temple Mount. Those came after Israel hit a number of Hamas targets inside the Gaza Strip Tuesday after a rocket was fired into Israel for the first time in months. As Chris Mitchell now reports from Jerusalem, this represents one of the latest incidents in a wave of terror attacks that have many wondering if Israel is on the brink of another war.
Israel's Iron Dome defense system knocked down the missile, and the military retaliated by taking out a Hamas weapons manufacturing site. While no group claimed responsibility for the rocket attack, Israel holds Hamas responsible for what happens inside Gaza. The confrontation follows weeks of terror attacks inside Israel that's left 14 dead, dozens wounded, and days of rioting on the Temple Mount. Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett accused Hamas of inciting the violence.
There are those who are encouraging rock throwing and the use of violence against the citizens of the State of Israel. This is a reward for the inciters, especially Hamas, which are trying to ignite violence in Jerusalem.
Itamar Marcus of the Palestinian Media Watch told CBN News back in February, PA leaders called for popular resistance.
Now, what does that mean? That means that all the PLO leadership, all the PA leadership are calling for violence of individuals with knives, with guns, and especially focused on the Al-Aqsa Mosque. So this is coming from the top.
Marcus says Palestinian Authority leaders, like the top Islamic advisor to PA President Mahmoud Abbas, have called for religious violence during Ramadan. He said Ramadan is not a month of laziness, but rather a month of activity, of effort, and of hard work. And as it also was in the life of the Prophet, a month of jihad, conquest, and victory. For the first time in decades, the Muslim month of Ramadan, the Jewish Passover, and the Christian celebration of Easter have come at the same time. During Passover, Jews have been attacked in the Old City. Palestinians have thrown rocks at buses carrying Jews to the Western Wall and stockpiled stones on the Temple Mount, where the Al-Aqsa Mosque has been the epicenter of clashes with Israeli police. On the official PA TV prayer for Ramadan, an imam declared, "Allah, liberate the Al-Aqsa Mosque from the defilement of the evil Jews."
Palestinians are a very religious people. Ramadan is the most important month of the year. When Palestinians hear this, they feel that in order to be a good Muslim, they've got to attack Israelis, supposedly in defense of the Al-Aqsa mosques. So this is all something that's happening from the top. Palestinians wouldn't be collecting stones if they weren't being directed from their leadership to do this.
The violence, especially on the Temple Mount, also threatens Prime Minister Bennett's government. Mansour Abbas, the head of an Islamic party that's part of the government, could leave the coalition. Since the Knesset is now split 60 to 60 seats, his 4 seats would collapse the government and likely lead to new elections. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Here at home, you can throw away those masks if you're flying, or can you? That's the question after a federal judge in Florida overturned the CDC's mask mandate. Several major airlines dropped their mask rules, but some airlines and destinations may still require masks, and that has many customers confused. All of this as the Biden administration has not decided yet if it will appeal the judge's ruling. Dale Hurd is on the story.
For travelers tired of wearing masks, it was a sweet announcement.
Mask now optional.
Just 24 hours after the federal mask mandate was struck down for travel on planes and public transportation, the signs started coming down as more masks started coming off.
I think it's wonderful. I just want to scream and tell everybody, take those masks off. Enjoy life, breathe.
But while Amtrak and rideshare services like Uber and Lyft have all dropped their mask rules, several major cities like New York, Philadelphia, and San Francisco still require them on some public transit, which means passengers are still forced to wear masks at some airports, but not on the actual planes.
It's like contradicting. Don't do this, don't do that, and then we have to listen to both.
And some are still wearing masks.
We've got a little one here who's too young to be vaccinated, so we're going to be a little bit cautious for now. While we are in the airport and on the plane, we're going to be wearing our masks.
The White House COVID response coordinator tweeted that the mask reversal is deeply disappointing and suggested people continue to mask up on planes.
Mr. President, should people continue to wear masks on planes?
That's up to them.
Many flight attendants are happy they won't have to deal with passengers who refuse to wear masks. The Federal Aviation Administration says from January 2021 to April 12th of this year, the agency recorded over 7,000 unruly passenger reports, with at least 5,000 of those incidents mask-related. The Department of Justice says it will not appeal the decision unless the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention believes the requirement is still necessary. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
The First Lady of CBN, Dede Robertson, the wife of Dr. Pat Robertson, CBN's founder, has died at the age of 94. She was a founding member of the boards and continued as a member of the board of CBN Regent University and Operation Blessing. And she said that doing the Lord's will had been a great blessing in her life.
I have seen more than I ever dreamed I would see. I have done more than I ever dreamed I would do. And it's just been a very exciting life. And working for the Lord is an exciting thing to do. Following His leading and doing the things that He wants you to do.
Dede traveled extensively for CBN. Dede Robertson was selected Christian Woman of the Year in 1986. She was also an accomplished writer, authoring 2 books and a monthly column for Christian Life magazine. Pat Robertson often talked about how he cherished Dede's wise counsel.
She has a good Midwestern common sense view of life, and when I run something by her, she's usually pretty much right on in terms of what needs to be done or what shouldn't be done. So it's nice to have a wife you can pray with and work together with.
Pat called her a woman of great faith, a champion of the gospel, and a remarkable servant of Christ who has left an indelible print on all that she set her hand to do during her extraordinary life. And CBN CEO Gordon Robertson said, Mom was the glue that held the Robertson family together. She was always working behind the scenes. If it weren't for Mom, there wouldn't be a CBN. You can see a tribute to Dede Robertson on today's 700 Club and at cbnnews.com. We'll be right back. Soaring inflation, rising crime, and the war in Ukraine, these issues all spell trouble for Democrats in 2022, along with the fact that the party in power always faces greater challenges in the midterms. Something even more troubling for the Democrats, a rising red wave of black and female candidates. Tara Mergener explains.
Billed as the party's rising stars.
We have so many Republican women, it's hard to fit us in one press conference.
Aiming to make history.
There are 9 candidates in my race. I'm the only female candidate.
and help their team take back Congress.
This is going to be a pink wave.
Party leaders are touting another year of the Republican woman.
I am running against a man who, combined with Joe Biden, has been in office for 89 years.
Only bigger.
I'm running to save the American dream.
Thanks for the 2022 momentum going largely to Representative Elise Stefanik, the third-ranking House Republican who created EPAC to get more women elected, raising more than $3 million campaign dollars.
After the 2018 midterms, we were down to 13 Republican women. And in just one cycle, we were over 30. I actually predict that we'll be over 50 Republican women in the next Congress. Think about that.
It's a goal likely to be helped by the fierce headwinds facing the current party in power.
Voters are frustrated with what they're seeing on the border. Inflation. I've met with voters saying, I have to decide whether to put gas in my car or buy eggs for my children.
More than 280 GOP women have filed to run for Congress, beating 2020's historic high.
They called the race!
When 33 got elected, flipping 11 of the 15 seats that went from blue to red. Stefanik's group is supporting 18 candidates so far this round in what it calls the most diverse and impressive roster to date.
They are going to focus on standing up for conservative values. They are strongly pro-life, they are pro-family, and that's where the Republican voters are today. That's where this country is.
Several candidates are endorsed by former President Trump.
When you look at what President Trump was able to do in both 16 and 20 in terms of changing minds and bringing people into the party that have never voted Republican before, swinging some of those independent votes, that's a lot of what we plan to do as well.
While Democrats tout the diversity within their ranks, the GOP believes it's poised to put a record number of Black Republicans in Congress.
We are seeing Republicans continuing to build on what they see is, small but, growing influence within the Black voter community.
And some 80 Black candidates are running this cycle.
With a new generation of leadership, we can secure our border, strengthen our economy, and put our financial house in order.
Up from 27 in 2020.
We're going to win this time. Yeah.
The lineup is well funded.
I love seeing your beautiful, maskless faces.
With some big names and famous faces on the marquee.
My name is Herschel Walker, and I'm running for the United States Senate.
Right now, Black Republicans hold just 2 seats in the House, 1 in the Senate. Backers are hoping there's still wind in the sails following Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears' historic victory in Virginia.
And put your left hand on the Bible.
As the first woman of color to win statewide office.
Congratulations.
Recent polls show strong party alignment with the Black community on issues like abortion, education, and immigration. Surveys show the GOP is warning about rising crime and the economy.
Shoppers are pinching pennies as inflation continues to soar.
Is also resonating. The number of Black voters favoring Democrats down 21 points since last fall.
This is something that Republicans are very much trying to use to connect to all voting groups, but especially Black voters.
Each Republican who flipped a Democrat-held House district in 2020 was a woman or person of color. Optimism is growing that 2022 will be the year these history makers will become majority makers. In Washington, I'm Tara Mergener, CBN News.
Still ahead, Grammy-nominated recording artist Major is known as the Hope Dealer, and he sat down to talk with me about his life and his music. That's coming up after this short break. Stay with us. Major R. Johnson Finley grew up in a blended family of 13 children. Music came early and easy for the Houston native who attended the very same high school as Beyonce. Hometown fans know him as Choir Boy. The rest call him Major or the Hope Dealer.
This is why I love you. This is why I love, because you love me. You love me.
This song introduced him to the world in 2016, solidified his single name, Major.
Your father changed my life. He helped me find Christ. He paid my tuition all throughout college. That's why I'm here, to pay my respects.
And even opened the door for him to act. Still, Major's success didn't come overnight.
Before people knew of me for, this is why I love you, I was told so many no's, still experience no's, and so many opinions of experts telling me a song's not gonna work on radio.
You talk of facing rejection. Too funny they're not funny now, but they're funny looking back, considering where you were, but I know they're not funny.
It's exhausting.
Funny going through. But both American Idol and The Voice.
Yeah. Oh, you really have done research. Absolutely. Unbelievable, because they said I was great, but no thanks. Simon said I was too polished for the show. I'm like, this is strange. This is weird. This is discouraging, because you just kind of build your hope on the things that you think are what it is. And that's when I realized that my hope has to be anchored in something that's more constant than the things that I'm aiming towards. And that's why my hope is in my faith center, God.
I just want to be honest. I just want to be honest.
A Grammy nomination and 2 albums later. So I know we can't see it because it's covered up by your jacket right now, but you have labeled yourself the hope dealer.
Listen, listen, it's hope right there. Hope right there.
Major's touring the country with a new nickname and a new spoken word project. He sat down with us at the Atlanta stop of the Major Hope Experience.
And I want to be specific that I put Major, which is stylized all caps with a period, dot hope. So it's Major Point Hope. And it's spoken as Major Hope because I want people to understand that this concept is not just some fluffy cliche. It's to be understood that major hope would be synonymous with the unapologetic embrace of it.
Hope is not the denial of reality. It's a commitment to believe greater is on the other side of it.
What prompted it? What sparked it in your heart?
I've been about this work all of my life. I was awakened to the call when I graduated college. I was the first of my siblings to graduate. My mom tells me why she named me Major, and that came with the story of perseverance for herself because she was, pregnant with a kid out of wedlock and considered abortion. So she's like, what do I do with this child that people are gonna judge me for having if I have it? Divine intervention, stepped in, and on her way twice to the abortion clinic, she had severe car trouble, from a tire busting to a tire just going flat in nearly the same spot each time she went. So she was like, God, I hear you. I'm gonna move forward with having this child. And if I name him Major, I pray that he makes a major impact on the world. And so we salute moms for always having intention.
Impact and intention bring us back to Major's most popular song.
I found love, and Lord, I found it in you. And no other love would do.
And who inspired his lyrics? God spoke to you and said that if you sing about me,
the rest of the world will sing along. Oh, you've been doing some research. All right, brother. That's it, yeah. As I was writing Why I Love You, I was writing the love song, and I was trying to figure out ways to be clever, and Harmony was like, I said, Harmony, words are coming, but they don't feel real. And I said, I know heartbreak. I don't know a consistent love that has shown me what I'm wanting to sing about. And he says, you've never experienced this? I said, God? He says, so write to God. And I said, that's it.
Wow.
And as I prayed, I remember hearing, write about me, and the rest of the world will sing along.
Can you help me sing this? Everybody say this is why.
We are singing along. Major's love letter to God has seen more than 130 million views on YouTube alone.
And Major's tour is still adding stops. Be sure to look for him in a city near you. And for more uplifting entertainment, you can catch an all-new Studio 5 tonight. Mark Wahlberg, Mel Gibson, and CeCe Winans will have all of them in the house this week. And the stars of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. You can catch Studio 5 on the CBN News Channel tonight at 8:30 Eastern or by downloading the CBN News app and watching it on demand. Stay tuned. Your Wednesday Word is coming up next. Time now for your Wednesday Word, and today's word is love. Consider this in the words of Major. Let's all say or even sing this to our Heavenly Father together. This is why I love you. This is why I love you, because you love me. And know this, no matter how great your love is for Him, He loves you even more. So with love, make this a wonderful Wednesday, and be sure to have yourself a wonderful rest of the week. That will do it for this edition of CBN News Watch. You can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel at any time, as well as online at cbnnews.com. We would love to know what you think about the stories you've seen. You can email us, newswatch@cbn.com. And of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We love hearing from you. We hope you'll join us again right here tomorrow, same time. Goodbye, everybody, and God bless.